Right. And we got the legend, the YouTube legend here, Phil, and we get back to that in a second, but quick fire round. This guy knows everything about tech, so quick fire round. Apple or Android?
Ooh, depends on what you're doing, but for me, Apple.
You're wrong. Well, we'll get over that, okay? PlayStation or Xbox?
I hate both of them. I used to work for PlayStation or Sony, and I absolutely hate all consoles. So
All right, so that's gaming, and we'll go back. Phil Bell's gaming machine, so we'll talk about that. Mac or PC?
PC, obviously.
Yeah, okay, we'll give him that one. Okay, this is where we will argue, but we won't argue right now. Microsoft, Outlook, or G Suite?
Microsoft for me. Yeah, I'll say Microsoft.
You're being a bit of a politician with your answers, but definitely you're wrong about that as well. But we won't fall out just yet. HP laptops or Dell?
I wouldn't sell either personally, especially the budget ones. But if I had to pick one or the other, I'd go for Dell.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. I suppose to be fair to them, now we're talking about business class and consumer, and people know my views that it's the world's worst. HP are the world's worst. Welcome anyway, Phil. Phil is a YouTuber with 6 million odd views, I think. He's also a very good friend of mine. Also, he is in charge of Tech for Techs. I'll let Phil explain about that in a little while. And he also builds, and he's a big reviewer, actually. So, Phil, I know, say a couple of words so we can introduce you to the world.
Yeah, so in basics, I run Tech for Techs along with my partner, which is also my wife. We've been running Tech for Techs for 6 years. We started off as a computer repair store, so like a lot of other computer technicians, and involved that due to a lot of awards and stuff we won in the past. It allowed us to meet vendors and distributors and then basically create a community around it. And now we've got like over 1,500 members. And on top of that, as Cormac said, we've got YouTube as well, channel with 6 million views. We do events as well for the trade and different things along that line. So it's sort of a marketing / trade / events / everything else company all in one.
Brilliant. And here I'm going to do for the tech nerds here. Definitely going to ask you what software tools you use, which is interesting. Also, Phil, we just know there's so much gamers out there. Tell me, actually, go on, give us a 30-second thing about your own machine. What's in your own machine now?
My own machine, so the one I've got home, I've just upgraded the monitor, actually. I've just got an LG OLED 48-inch screen, so it's huge, to replace 3 screens, mainly because I used to work a lot from home, and I used to need the 3 screens, when now, because we've got a new office and everything, I'm able to keep work at home a bit more separate. Otherwise, it's pretty much top of the line, top i9 processor, 13900K, about 64 gig of RAM, lots of storage, and a GeForce 4090, if I remember right. So quite a big machine.
You'll buy and sell me if we'll dumb it down for people, because I'm one of these people who just I'm not mad gamer and all that.
Basically, it's expensive, basically.
Rolls Royce of machines. Actually, something, because I know a lot of gaming people will actually love this. Tell me, what is the biggest mistake someone makes when building a gaming machine?
Well, if you're talking about like a home user sort of thing who would build them themselves, there's quite a few. I think it's usually compatibility, to be honest. They don't research all the parts. They'll have a look on a website and think, oh, this goes together with this. And a lot of times it doesn't. It might physically work, but there's usually a compatibility issue with generations, or it needs what's called a firmware or BIOS update or something along that lines to get it to work, or it's just plain not compatible. Otherwise, there's that many things we've come across over the years, from people breaking pins when they're trying to put in CPUs onto motherboards, static issues. There's that many things that I could spend all day going on that one.
Yeah, that's no, because I know a lot of people coming in here. I really always encourage people to, especially the kids or anyone out there, to start building their own machines. And then, you know what? If they have problems with it, they can bring it into a shop and they can put it together. But definitely, it's definitely people to encourage building their own sort of machines there. Now, I tell you, since we're on the subject of shops and all that sort of stuff, I do a lot. I'd be calling out a lot with the bad antiviruses and all that sort of stuff. What antivirus do you use? Or do we use antivirus?
For personal use, and also sell it for my repair or business customers and even some residential customers, is Soft Security. So it's pretty good. You can monitor it from your own end and sort of remote support into the software and fix any issues people may be having. But I find it pretty good, and you can even stick it like a silent mode for some people who just don't want it popping up every 5 seconds. So personally, and obviously reselling wise, Emsisoft's definitely the way I go.
Bill, how did you get into tech? Like, you built your own, well, obviously you have your own shop, but now you're after graduating from a shop to running your own tech event. You would be probably one of the best known tech people in England at this particular time. So tell me a tiny bit of your backstory there, like how did you go about, because a lot of people out there would love to get into the field of tech repair, because I know it's passion for a lot of people. So how did you get into it?
So there's a lot of ways. Obviously, depends on the person and what type of tech they want to get into, from programming or whatever. But for me personally, I've always been into tech from when I was a kid, playing on my dad's Commodore Amiga 500 plus, I think it was, and a BBC Micro, if anyone remembers one of those, if they're old enough. To first upgrading those with memory, to getting a Windows PC, which had something like 100 megahertz processor, I think it was back then, and 16 megabytes of RAM, and upgrading that. And then basically, this is while I was still a teenager, before I'd left school. When I did like a business and finance course when I was like in sixth form / college. Went on and couldn't get a job anywhere. I actually visited my brother at the time, who was in the RAF down in an area near London, and coincidentally somewhere was advertising for temporary staff, and I got myself a job working basically for Sony, or a company what repairs PlayStations and stuff like that. Back in the day, it was a PlayStation 1 and 2 back then, so it gives you a rough idea where I started. And then basically the company decided, we're closing down, not Sony itself, but the actual company who did all the repairs. And then I come back up to the centre of England, the Midlands, shall we say, and worked for a few computer repair companies and stuff, and saw all the things what you should do right, as well as all the things you shouldn't do as well. Some of them are not always the best, to be honest with you, and I've learned from there. So it's just basically been a gradual thing. If anyone is wanting to get into the tech side of things, like repairs and stuff like that, it's quite a hard thing. And what I would recommend they do is probably try volunteering, Saturday job or something along that lines for your local computer repair company. You'll get more experience from doing that than going to a college course, which will tell you how to repair one computer and will really only give you the basics.
As you know, that's very good, because I actually done a course for 6 months, and they were just showing us the theory side of things. It was actually quite embarrassing. I got to certain stuff, but I did say to them, as I retrained, but I did say to them, "You're sending us out in the field." I said, I have no skills. I've none. I couldn't take. They never even showed us how to take a computer apart. They just wanted. Now, obviously, for people to go and get certs, be helpful. But me running my own business, I've never been asked for a cert. Never ever been asked for a cert whatsoever, and that's that. So yeah, I suppose my own view on it is you have to have a passion for it. It's like anything else. If you have a passion for it, it's like, if I'm trying to fix a computer, I will do everything to try to fix that computer. Not the same about other things in my life. I'll leave it over. Now I'm going to flip the questions over a little bit, because we're coming up to the 10-minute mark, and this is going to be split in two on TikTok. So tell me, what laptop are you using yourself?
It's actually a custom build one, what I built myself.
You couldn't just answer general question. It has to be custom build. Go on, custom build.
So custom build myself. I can't really mention more than that. But to be honest with you, a laptop I only use for basic stuff. When I'm going out and about, generally I prefer a PC any day of the week.
Yeah, I do. I use a Dell actually 7280 or something, because it's just rugged. It's great. It's kind of, flinging in and out of your car within reason. It's just perfect. And I'm very particular about typing. I buy it on my PC. Everything has to be soft touch, the mouse, everything. But it's always going to be laptop. And what phone are you using?
It's a phone 14 Pro, I think it is.
Dan, tell me.
I've actually got two. I've got personal and a business. I think the personal one is an iPhone 12, I think, but similar sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised a person who loves tech so much like you are using iPhones, but we'll argue about that in a second.
There's a reason, but we'll get to that in a few minutes if you want.
I have two phones as well. And you all know what I'll talk about this one. I got the Nothing phone. Oh my God. And I got the Google Pixel 6. Actually, no, it's actually, Phil, it's not, I'm not having an Apple Android argument in the sense that if, they are, iPhones are fantastic. And if you're going to buy a tablet, you have to buy an iPad. You just have to. There's no point buying anything else. The only reason I'm saying that as a pure tech person, I thought it would be nearly too locked down for you. Or am I just talking crap? Because I don't really do too much with my Android phones besides, I don't know, changing the icons and stuff, but you can't even do that with the iPhones, can you?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really go that much into it. To be honest, I just use it as a tool and not a plaything. So if you can, maybe, but I don't think you can. For me, to be honest, the only reason I use an iPhone over an Apple iPhone over an Android is down to the software, what I use. It's probably changed since, but there were specific apps I needed for my business, which were only available on Apple products and weren't on Android. So I went down that route.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm only kind of trying to be slightly controversial on it. I think for my second phone, I will probably get an Apple phone. Tell me your house. Tell me as a techie, do you have any mad techie things going on in your house? This is a leading question because I have Google Homes, which I don't even have synced because once I go home, I don't want to do any more tech,
I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. Other than a computer and TV, that's about as techie as it gets, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't say it was that over the top, to be honest. I'm not that bothered about any of the smart stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a bit skeptical with a lot of smart stuff. A lot of people will probably wonder why, but you tend to find that the products are only usually supported for so many years, and then the software doesn't work, or you have to go out and buy a new one. I prefer, if I'm going to lock the door or put something on it, I prefer using a traditional key and lock rather than using all these smart things, to be honest with you. Is a bit daft in a way, but yeah, I prefer just getting out of the tech side of things and going back down to the basics sometimes.
Do you know what? Now I'm going to ask you there for our last 5 minutes. Going to ask you a question which I'm very interested in myself. Phil, you're after elevating, and let me explain that Phil runs a successful shop, but now he's after branching into what would you describe your tech fair? It's basically Phil is the man in England. How did you go? Because it takes loads of business skills to even run a shop. So how did you get to the next level, and a level that most people didn't even think existed, if you get my meaning? How did that happen?
It's just progression, to be honest with you. It's like with anything else. You learn skills, you learn a bit more and a bit more, you earn new contacts, and as time goes by, you, instead of having 5 or 6 contacts, you have a few hundred, and it's just a big progression. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the stuff I do have in the back of my mind and written down. We've had a joke about my notebook before, looking like something out of The Hobbit, but basically I have all my ideas, write them down, a bit like Sheldon does on The Big Bang Theory. He has everything written down, and sometimes you go through it and you'd be surprised what sort of ideas you come up with, to be honest with you. So it's progression. It's not one of those things one day I just woke up, we're doing an event and then we're going to invite all your big brands and get hundreds of people there and stuff like that. It was just a progression. It's something that we wanted to do, but we just needed to build up like the client base, as you would say, to actually be able to do it.
Yeah, see, this is something that I admire about you, and actually something that we kind of, I would say, having similar thing is that I know your brain is always working. I do try to be conscious of the times that I text you, even when you were away in America at Christmas time. But I know your brain is on the whole time working on ideas, and it's actually your brain because I have someone to bounce ideas off on that. I do know it's kind of different. It's kind of, I know this is that what the step that you built didn't just fall at your feet, I remember actually, I remember a good analogy. David Beckham scoring his free kick against Greece in the last minutes. And I don't usually be talking about stars and all that, but they said to him, you got lucky with that free kick. There's someone was saying in a really nice way, you got lucky, it went in. And he was like, I think he took that 10,000 times, he practiced in training and it went in. I think in business, there's a bit of that going on as well, What's the favorite part of this business? Because you get to review tech toys that people can only dream of.
The favorite part of it, it's quite a difficult one because there's so many parts I do like, to be honest. I like interacting with the people, even though naturally I'm actually quite a shy person, which a lot of people don't believe. But yeah, playing with the new tech and stuff like that is a big thing. But to be honest with you, you don't see a huge difference each time you review a product. You might get the new version of a product and it's got one nice little new feature on it. So every year it's sort of, you don't get this sudden, big thing pop up. I think the biggest thing tech-wise, what's popped up recently, which we've not reviewed, but is obviously ChatGPT. I think that's going to be a big thing, what's going to change a lot of things in the future for good and bad.
This is true. This is what I say, because there's plus to, like, even before I was starting this interview with you, I was playing around with the toys, as in I was taking webcams out of my bag to play this and this, and laptops come in and we can switch around laptops so much. But that is something that there is same about tech as well. One laptop is the same as another laptop. The ChatGPT, and it's interesting for you to say that from a person whose livelihood is made reviewing things. You have just said same. ChatGPT is a game changer, isn't it?
It is, to be honest with you. I can see it going either way. I think there'll be good things what come out of it, like with most technology, and there'll be bad. It's how it's going to be used. I think it could potentially put a lot of people out of potential business, because obviously if you're asking something what answers everything for you, why do you need to go onto websites to find this information out? Do you need to look up YouTube videos or what to find the answer, when you can just type it in a box and it'll tell you without you having to research it or do anything? And obviously that's also, in my opinion, going to make people potentially lazy in the future as well, because, well, let's put it this way, a lot of the universities in the States, I'm guessing it probably happening over here soon as well, they've actually banned the use of the software because people are rewriting their essays and stuff using the software. So, and if that can be done, these kids aren't learning anything. They're just basically asking a computer what's the answer and then printing it out. Or, well, you don't even print stuff out these days, but they email it over or submit it and so forth. But I have a feeling that it could potentially, a bit like a calculator, has basically stopped people thinking how to do maths and things along that sort of line.
Well, I actually agree with you, and you can go either way on this as well, because we could talk about the positive things. My own view is the internet is only 30 years old, and it's like standing around a fire for the first time. You can see where it has. People believe everything they see on the internet. And at the very early days, people would be giving out about kids sharing stuff online. Our generation shared nearly everything on Facebook. Just shared. Now we're tightening up. We're learning at last to deal with the internet in a very positive way. And I think ChatGPT is going to be the same. It can be destroyed things, and it can create it. Actually, a very nice thing that I heard about it. I saw a TikTok of it. There was a father who would be reading his little daughter a story every night. But we'll just say the daughter's name is Molly, okay? She was only young or something. He would go down and he would put into ChatGPT, write me a 100-line little story on Molly the princess saving the world from a dragon. Okay, so to read that story, next night a different story, and this and that. No, that's the positive side of it. Yep. But the fact that it's I don't know. We're definitely going to have to, on this podcast, do more about that. It's going to be an interesting way to look at life, Right, Phil, I think this is our first test run, and we came on, so thanks to everyone who's been listening to us. We have a couple of sound issues, which is my end, because Phil the Magic has all the studio set up. I'm working on it my end. Is there anything else you want to say? Or
not really, to be honest, Cormac. You did a good show for your first show, to be honest with you, and thanks for having me on and letting me be your first guest.
And we'll actually finish on that. We kind of have to say this is a kind of Phil and myself are kind of, I'm the presenter, I'm doing the show, it's going to my time, but Phil is behind it with Tech for Techs, and you'll be hearing more about Tech for Techs, and definitely look it up. And if there is people still listening at the end of this now, definitely for any shop owners and stuff, get on, have a look for the Facebook group Tech for Techs. It's good, yeah? Right, that's about it. So lads, and the next couple of weeks we're going to have some TikTok stars and all this sort of stuff. Phil, thank you very much indeed, sir.
No problem. Thanks for having me again, Cormac. Brilliant show.